I wasn't going to do any more videos, lives, what you want to call them, purely and simply because it falls on deaf ears. But I decided that I'm going to say something because I see so much division. I said it all before, it's like a one-out record. But people that you're never going to agree with each other on every single subject, and yet here we are with people expecting everyone to agree with each other on every single subject. But let's just have a look at what's going on since Labour won the general election in July. Nowhere in their manifesto was any promises or any mention of cuts that's going to affect pensioners in the way that they've done it. Now, apparently, this is only going to affect the pensioners who aren't going to be affected by the cuts, the winter payment. So what about those who are just on the edge of that? There's no allowance for that. I do understand, I get it, that multimillionaires, they don't need it. I get that. But at the same time, we're not all multimillionaires. Now, I'm a pensioner. I hit 66 last year. I won't be getting the winter fuel payment. But where was that in their election manifesto? Was that in there? No, it wasn't. There's going to be many more things that's going to come out in the coming weeks, months, maybe years, that this government never mentioned in their election promises. I wonder if the people who voted for Keir Starmer and his Labour party would have voted for them if they'd known what was coming. Now, I stood in the last elections for the Heritage Party, and I was disappointed. I'm not going to lie. I was disappointed at how it went. People tend to want to vote for who they think is going to have a chance of getting in. Well, if you carry on doing that, you're going to carry on voting Labour and Conservative, and you've got to keep on making the same mistakes. And as we know, the definition of insanity is making the same decisions and expecting a different outcome. So you're looking at so many things that are happening. You ask yourself, why? And for me, the answer is obvious. It's all by design. We look at the winter fuel payments for the pensioners. We look at the way things are going with the schools. This just gender stuff. Everything is all about reducing the population, in my opinion. When you start confusing young people as to what they are, whether they are a he, a she, or they, or them, or it, or what, cat, dog, you put confusion in their minds, and they then struggle to have any real identity, in my opinion. So this is all about reducing the population. Are young people who identify as a they or a them going to have children? I don't know the answer, but it concerns me that they're being confused as to what they really are. And what they really are, at the end of the day, I'm sorry, is a man or a woman, a boy or a girl. There are only two sexes. Everything that's happening has been designed to happen. It all started, in my view, in March 2020 with the what they called a pandemic. And then they made it an emergency, which brought in emergency measures. So if you look at everything that's happening, all of it has all been designed from the get-go to reduce population, to create depression, to divide the people, and every single time the people fall for it. Like I said at the beginning, we're never ever going to agree completely with each other. So we have to look at what we do agree with and work on that. How are people, even in a marriage, you don't always agree with your partner, but you work along with it and you work together. But we seem to be so fickle nowadays that as soon as somebody says something you don't like, you turn aggressive, you turn nasty. We all need to understand it's all by design. All of it is all by design. And if they're looking down at us from above the glass ceiling, they will be laughing their heads off at the fact that we cannot come together to challenge what's going on. I decided that I was going to step away from things because the people that you're trying to help are the same people who are trying to stop you from trying to help them. So I decided to step away from it. But there's only so much you can do when you see what's going on. And so, although I'm not going to get back onto it fully, I'm not going to waste my time trying to help people that don't want to help themselves. But I cannot sit still and say nothing. Not when I know that in years to come, people are going to be wishing that the likes of myself had spoken up. So I'm going to say this to the people of Norfolk and Suffolk and Essex and even Cambridgeshire, the counties that border and skirt along near to where I live in Ipswich. It's time we all came together. No more of this division, no more of this anger towards each other because we don't agree with what the other one says. Let's just start working on the main goal. And the main goal is stopping Agenda 2030, which will then morph into Agenda 2050. I won't be here by 2050, I very much doubt. So, you people out there that are watching this, come together. Drop the overinflated egos. Drop the you're wrong, I'm right mindset. Let's work together and see if we can change the direction that this country's going in. And those people who, I'm not even going to say sit on the fence, those people who sit in the background knowing that something's not right, but are afraid to speak out because their friends might turn against them. What are you doing? Are you doing the right thing? Because for me, keeping silent is just as bad as condoning what's going on. There are many, many people who know what's going on, won't say anything, and you're not helping. You're not helping. By looking the other way, you helped create this dystopia which is coming your way and the way of your children and your grandchildren. How much longer are we going to sit there and wait for somebody else to do what we need to do for ourselves. How much longer are we going to sit there and allow these governments, who are all the same, they're all following the same directive, to do what they want to us? We don't go down the violent route, but we go down the route of no more. Martin Luther King was a perfect example of somebody that was non-violent and fought and fought and fought. And yes, he lost his life. But wouldn't it be better to lose your life fighting for something you believe in, rather than sitting quiet knowing that what's going to come your way, in the way of your children and your grandchildren? So I say to you all, it's time to stop the division. It's time to come together, and it's time for us to stand against this tyranny and this dystopian future which is coming the way of you and your children and your grandchildren. Feel free to message me. I'm determined to try and bring the people together. Up to you as to whether you want it or not. But one thing's for sure, we need to do it, and we need to do it soon before we run out of time. Time is of the importance now. So please, please, please listen to this, share this, and let's see what we can do as a community and people of the UK.